Hello there, you tuning into Nightline with me, Anita Wu. News making the headlines. Law on digital currency comes into effect on Tuesday. And nearly 600 kilograms of drugs worth over 28 million ringgit seized. Our headlining story. The law on digital currencies and digital tokens will come into effect on Tuesday, and any person operating unauthorized initial coin offerings or ICOs or digital asset exchange faces a 10-year jail and 10 million ringgit fine. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said on Monday, after the Capital Markets and Services Prescription of Securities and Digital Currency and Digital Token Order 2019 would be effective Tuesday and the framework in place by end of the first quarter this year. With this ruling, digital currencies and digital tokens or digital assets are prescribed as securities and will be regulated by the Securities Commission or SC. Lim said such instruments and their associated activities must be first approved by the SC and needs to comply with the relevant securities laws and regulations. He added that the Finance Ministry views digital assets as well as its underlying blockchain technologies as having the potential to bring about innovation in both old and new industries. Lim also said that the SC would put in place regulatory requirements for the issuance of ICOs and the trading of digital assets at digital asset exchanges in Malaysia. The government is studying 6 laws with the view of either amending or repealing them. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said his ministry would discuss with the Attorney General's chambers to fine-tune the proposal to either amend or repeal the affected laws, and the outcome would be tabled to the Cabinet for approval. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the 6 laws are the Sedition Act, Prevention of Crime Act, Prevention of Terrorism Act, Printing Presses and Publications Act, SOSMA and the Peaceful Assembly Act.
Prinsip asas dalam kajian undang-undang ini ialah kerajaan perlu mengubah undang-undang berkaitan keselamatan yang dapat mengimbangi keperluan untuk menjaga keselamatan negara dengan berkesan dan pada masa yang sama memelihara hak-hak kebebasan asasi seperti yang dijamin oleh perlembagaan persekutuan.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin said this at the Home Ministry's 2019 Media Message Programme in Putrajaya on Monday. On the SOSMA 2012, he said the status of the law was still being discussed with the stakeholders and non-governmental organisations, including the Bar Council. He said this would take some time as the ministry is in the midst of redrafting or amending the laws. In the meantime, Tan Sri Muhyiddin acknowledged that he had made an appeal for Datuk Sri Alwi Ibrahim to be retained as the Secretary-General of the Ministry. He said he had been able to work well with Datuk Sri Alwi since helming the Home Ministry after the 14th general election last May.
Ya, itu adalah rayuan saya. Kerana saya berpendapat saya boleh bekerja baik dengan beliau sejak saya masuk di kementerian dan saya tidak ada lihat apa-apa masalah. Lagipun saya baru, jadi saya memerlukan seorang yang sudah lama supaya saya tahu apa yang berlaku di kementerian. Dan perkara itu telah dipersetujukan dan terima kasihlah pada pihak yang memberi kelulusan.
Datuk Sri Alwi had been appointed as the Secretary-General of the Works Ministry under a reshuffle of senior government positions earlier this month. His place was to have been taken over by Datuk Dr. Muhammad Ghazali Abbas, the Secretary-General of the Education Ministry. My PPP will appeal to Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin within the next 30 days over its deregistration by the Registrar of Societies, or ROS. One of the two-party factions' presidents, Tan Sri M. Kevias, confirmed that the party had received the red notice via email from the ROS. He said the minister can decide whether to accept the ROS's decision or to make an amendment on the move, or the minister can even state that he does not agree with such decisions. He added that the party will then decide on the next move after receiving the minister's decision. Tan Sri Kevias said the party has several options in the event of the deregistration remains. This includes re-registering a new My PPP, registering a new party, or merging with another political party. The ROS deregistered My PPP effective Monday due to leadership problems in the party. The deregistration decision was made by ROS Director Mashati Abang Ibrahim. A similar notice, which was sent to Tan Sri Kevias, had also sent to the other faction leader, Datuk Sri Maglin Dennis de Cruz. The government will continue to provide assistance and support local manufacturing industry players as far as it is able to do so. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said although the government had limited financial resources, it still wanted to see Malaysia become an industrialised country.
Tiap-tiap industri yang dapat bantuan daripada kerajaan perlulah berusaha sehingga bantuan daripada kerajaan ini tidak diperlukan lagi. Dengan itu bantuan yang diberi boleh diguna untuk memberi bantuan kepada industri-industri yang lain juga. Kerana kebolehan kerajaan adalah terhad.
He was met after the launch of the AC Gas brand 14-kilogram liquefied petroleum gas LPG composite cylinder produced by Astana City Group Sdn Bhd ACG on Monday. He said the growth of the local manufacturing industry would create more job opportunities and reduce the outflow of money for the import of products. When asked which industrial sectors the government would assist, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the government would help companies in need in the initial phase of the venture. ACG is the seventh operator engaged in the marketing of LPG to the Malaysian market. At a separate function, Tun Dr. Mahathir urged all government officers to understand history so that past mistakes will not be repeated to ensure peace in the country continues to be preserved, enabling progress to take place and the country's wealth to be distributed fairly. He said if the three main races in Malaysia, together with the ethnic groups in Sabah and Sarawak, could unite to work, live and play together, the country could be more advanced.
Tetapi hakikatnya ialah terdapat juga perpisahan antara kaum dan perpisahan ini tidaklah baik ataupun selamat bagi kita. Kita perlu cantumkan semua kaum supaya di mana-mana saja kita pergi, kita akan dapati ketiga-tiga kaum bersama dengan kaum-kaum di Sabah dan Sarawak duduk tinggal bersama, kerja bersama, main bersama dan sebagainya. Kalau kita dapat capai keadaan yang seperti itu, maka saya yakin negara kita akan lebih maju lagi.
Tun Dr. Mahathir was speaking at the monthly gathering with staff of the Prime Minister's department in Putrajaya. He said the government remained focused in its efforts to eradicate poverty, especially among the Bumiputras living in the rural areas. The Prime Minister added that Malaysia is fortunate to have achieved independence without having had to go through war or riots, and the country's administration was taken over by leaders who had the experience of working with the British colonialists. He also pointed out that many countries that were taken over by leaders after victory in wars did not develop well because the leaders did not have the knowledge of administering a country. In the meantime, Tun Dr. Mahathir said the government will focus its efforts on eradicating poverty through fair distribution of wealth to the poor, regardless of race and religion.
Tak ada gunanya kita cuma anggap hak kita terhad, hak kita yang sama terhad kepada mengundi sahaja ataupun memilih kerajaan sahaja. Kalau kita tidak dapat menyamakan kedudukan, keselesaan, kehidupan yang tenang dan makmur di kalangan semua kaum di Malaysia, maka kita tidak boleh anggap kita sudah berjaya dalam usaha kita membangunkan negara kita. Kita tidak nak melihat negara kita ni ternampak begitu kaya, tetapi kekayaan itu tidak diagih secara yang adil kepada semua kaum.
The Health Ministry will look into complaints that housemen at government hospitals are being made to work up to 80 hours per week. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, said he had instructed the Health Deputy Director General, Datuk Dr. Azman Abu Bakar, to obtain further details on the matter. Datuk Seri Dr. Zulkifli was asked to comment on a news report that housemen at government hospitals were being made to work long hours despite the implementation of a new shift system some time ago. He said the matter will be addressed accordingly after all the related information has been furnished to the ministry. The minister was speaking to the media after the official launch of Removing Obstacles to Cervical Screening, or ROSE, an innovation by University Malaya and VCS Foundation of Australia on Monday. The launch was officiated by the Deputy Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail. Police seized nearly 600 kilograms of drugs, mostly crystal methamphetamine, in a crackdown on 2 trafficking syndicates over the weekend. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun said the bulk of the drugs seized on Saturday was found in a container truck in Taiping, Perak. Speaking at a media conference in Bukit Aman on Monday, Tan Sri Fuzi said a narcotics department team from Bukit Aman had tailed the lorry based on a tip-off that the container was filled with drugs. The lorry was then stopped at the Taiping rest area and searched, leading to the discovery of the drugs and the arrest of the driver. In follow-up raids, police also arrested a 49-year-old man in Ipoh and a 39-year-old at the Bidor Toll Plaza. All suspects have been remanded for 7 days until Saturday. The value of the drugs is estimated at around 28.47 million ringgit. Investigations are still ongoing to find the source of the drugs and whether it was imported or manufactured locally. The drugs seized could cater to around 3 million drug addicts. Tan Sri Fuzi also announced that police have taken down a syndicate smuggling drugs into the Simpang Renggam prison with the arrests of 5 men in Johor on Saturday. He said police also seized drugs worth 814,000 ringgit from the men aged between 26 and 30. Tan Sri Fuzi said all 5 men have been remanded for 7 days until Saturday to assist investigations under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act.
Jadi syndicate ni dia kena pasti aktif membekalkan dadah kepada penjara Simpang Renggam sepanjang tahun 2018 dan kita yang mana kita telah berjaya menempaskan kumpulan yang terlibat ni atau ahli syndicate ni dalam 4 operasi yang dijalankan oleh DSJN bersama DSJN Johor dan Jabatan Penjara Malaysia.
He also said it was likely that the syndicate had a man inside prison helping their cause. During the raid, police also seized 2 cars, 3 motorcycles, jewellery and 22,000 ringgit in cash. When Nightline returns, wanted criminal gunned down by police. Do stay with us. Welcome back, still on Nightline. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, on Monday seized several valuable items believed to be the result of corruption and abuse of power pertaining to a water supply project worth 23 million ringgit in Pahang. According to a source, the seized assets consisted 100,000 ringgit cash, 2 cars, a Mazda CX-5 and a Honda CR-V, as well as a gold bar worth 18,000 ringgit. To date, the MACC have arrested 12 individuals, including a senior officer and 6 other officers attached to an agency in Pahang that were involved in the case. The crime is believed to have taken place since 2014. In the recent 4 years, all projects under the supervision of the agency have been monopolised and controlled by selected contractors, said to be proxies to the agency insiders. MACC Deputy Chief Commissioner of Operations, Datuk Seri Azam Baki, confirmed the seizure and said that the Graft Busters investigators are in the process of gathering proof and investigations are still ongoing. Kedah police shot dead a wanted man believed to be a member of Gang 36 in a shootout at Kampung Jerong near Sungai Petani early on Monday. State CID Chief SAC Mio Faridalatrash Wahid said the 28-year-old suspect had opened fire at police personnel before he was gunned down. He added that the suspect, known as Magis, was wanted by the police in connection to 3 cases, including murder and attempted murder. In the 5:20 a.m. incident, the CID team was chasing the suspect, who was driving a Toyota Vios, after he ignored their order to stop. The suspect's car later skidded to the side of the road before he came out of the vehicle and fired a few shots at the police car, shattering the front windscreen. The police team then returned fire, and when the shooting ended, the man was found sprawled to the ground. Police also found a Beretta semi-automatic pistol with shells and bullets at the scene. The suspect's body was sent to Sultanah Bahia Hospital in Al-Astar for post-mortem. In Perak, a 14-year-old boy pleaded guilty at the Kampar Magistrates Court on Monday to committing incest with his older sister. The accused's incestuous relationship with his 16-year-old sister began 2 years ago and resulted in the birth of a baby girl. The boy, whose identity was withheld, gave the guilty plea before Magistrate Nur Faiza Muhammad Saleh in a closed proceeding. He committed the offence at their house in Taman Diawan between December 2017 and May 2018. If convicted, the charge under the Penal Code provides up to 30 years imprisonment and whipping. He was allowed bail of 3,000 ringgit in one shorty, pending a psychological assessment from the Social Welfare Department. The court set February 20th for mention. In Pulau Pinang, a construction contractor was shot dead at a car park of the Pulau Pinang City Council, or MBPP flats, at Jalan Sungai Pinang on Sunday night. In the 10:30 p.m. incident, the victim, identified as Muhammad Nazrul Hisham Muhammad Mura, aged 27, was having a chat with his friends at the car park when two men riding a motorcycle stopped nearby and fired several shots at the victim. Police were investigating the motive of the attack, and initial investigations showed the victim had previous criminal records. Over in Negeri Sembilan, a motorcyclist was killed after he was rammed into by a car on the northbound lane of the North-South Expressway near the Seremban West area on Monday. In the 5:40 a.m. incident, 50-year-old G. Muniandi was believed to have stopped on the shoulder of the highway after his motorcycle ran out of fuel. He was crossing the highway to get some petrol at the nearby rest area before he was rammed into by a Borodua Myvi. On another development, police have reclassified an abuse case involving a 9-month-old baby boy in Sibu, Sarawak as murder under Section 302 of the Penal Code. This follows the death of Aris Haraz Zahin Azman at the Sibu Hospital at 11:55 a.m. on Sunday after his life support machine was turned off at 11:30 a.m. Aris was being treated at the hospital following injuries sustained as a result of being abused, allegedly by his babysitter, who had his remand period extended by the police to facilitate further investigation. In Kelantan, a woman who is also a former executive managing pawn services at a financial company in Kota Baru is expected to be charged by the MACC at the Kota Baru Sessions Court for deceiving her employer for a loan of 400,000 ringgit. It is understood that the suspect's modus operandi was to get hold of jewellery already pawned by customers at the financial company she was working at before handing the valuables over to her friend to be pawned again through her. Coming up after this breather, cargo plane crash kills more than a dozen. Stay tuned. On to the foreign front. Iranian aviation authorities have launched an investigation into the military cargo plane crash in Alborz province, which killed 15 out of the 16 people on board on Monday. According to the army officials, the crash occurred when the plane was attempting to make an emergency landing at the Fath airport amid severe weather. It was understood that the Boeing 707 cargo plane had skidded off the runway and caught fire after hitting a wall that separates the airport from a residential neighborhood. A flight engineer survived the accident and was taken to hospital for treatment. Officials said the plane, which was carrying meat from Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, was actually meant to land at the nearby Payam International Airport, 40 kilometers from Tehran. The cause of the emergency landing is still unclear. Indonesian authorities on Monday have recovered the cockpit voice recorder of a Lion Air jet that crashed into the Java Sea in October, killing all 189 people aboard. According to Naval Lieutenant Colonel Agung Nugroho, the second black box was buried in about 8 meters of mud in waters about 30 meters deep, following a new search effort on Friday using high-tech ping locator equipment. The device was then transported to a port in Jakarta, where it will be handed over to the Transportation Safety Committee, which is overseeing the accident investigation. The cockpit voice recorder is one of the 2 so-called black boxes crucial for the investigation of the plane crash, as it may provide an account of the last actions of the doomed jet's pilots. Authorities said the process of downloading, transcribing and analysing the contents of the recorders could take up to 3 months based on previous records. Over in neighbouring Thailand, a couple who were Member of Parliament candidates of the Thai Nation Power Party were shot dead at their home in Kabang district on Sunday night. Officials said the victim, Warin Sengjan, was watching television with his 5-year-old son when two gunmen entered the house through its back door at about 9 p.m. local time. Warin and his wife Rokio Sapeing were then tied by the gunmen before they were shot in the head. Their 5-year-old son, however, managed to escape through the front door and fled together with his 16-year-old sister. Police suspected a political conflict but did not rule out a southern insurgent attack. We're back with sports news now. Tennis, the 2019 Australian Open. World number 2 Rafael Nadal made a winning start as he blazed into the second round with a straight sets victory over American wildcard James Duckworth on Monday. In another first-round match, Riley Opelka provided one of the early upsets in the men's draw when he beat his countryman and 9th seed John Isner to book a place in the second round. He will next face Italian Thomas Fabiano. In the women's draw, title contender Angelique Kerber started her campaign in style with a straightforward victory against Slovenia's Polona Herzog. Kerber put on a scintillating display as she dispatched her opponent 6-2, 6-2 in just over an hour. The 2016 Australian Open winner will play Brazilian qualifier Beatriz Haddad-Maia. Former champion Maria Sharapova was also through to the second round after beating British qualifier Harriet Dart in straight sets. The Russian ace blew away the Briton 6-love, 6-love to set up a clash with Swede Rebecca Peterson for a place in the third round. Now, people across China held folk activities, including dragon dances during the Laba Festival, one of the traditional Chinese festivals celebrated on the 8th day of the 12th month, according to the lunar calendar. Witness the celebration as we draw Nightline to a close this time around. With that, I'm Anita Wu. Thank you for watching. Take care.